Yeah, hello, welcome. My name is Jochen Richter. I'm heading radio sales at Lawo Global, and I have the pleasure to present the new Crystal console and audio radio product for you. New Crystal is a cost-effective mixer for small to mid-size on-air studios, regional studios, news and commentary suites, and podcast booths. It shares consistent workflow principles and user management and snapshots with our already very successful Diamond product. The new Crystal bundles and packages with the PowerCore Compact license and the PowerCore Max license. Crystal apps enable integrated, guided and intuitive workflows, which means you can do these workflows by using our already pre-implemented workflow support. Our new Crystal, similar to Diamond, is built on open broadcast and IP standards for modern infrastructure, including wide area applications. New Crystal, and this is something new, supports two different operational modes for maximum usability. So, what is Crystal about? It is available in two surface finishes, and a light and a dark version. Then we have on the one hand a main module. The main module is having 6 faders, channel strips in a central section. Then we have a fader module with 8 faders and channel strips, and a so-called virtual extension, on the one hand integrated in the same frame than the fader modules or the main module, which means integrated in one unique setup, or as a virtual extension, a standalone one that can be positioned wherever you would like to have it. We can use the Crystal per single frame or split frame configurations with an ultra high density design, because it's definitely shorter than the Diamond is. So ideal then for OB vans, for smaller podcast production booths, for news booths, for regional studios, and any kind of setup that requires a smaller but nice and compact console. It is available as tabletop and as well as a countersunk frame option. And as mentioned, a low profile design. Okay, then we come to the core functions of new Crystal. We have a touch sensitive motorized faders with selectable 0 dB notch and overpress function. Overpress function means that you can push the fader completely down and then you activate, for example, it is programmable EFL function or any other function that is useful for the workflow support in the studio and for the customer. Yeah, we have context-sensitive, vibrant, fuller color displays, which means display of metering information, channel information, or any other information, specifically if it is positioned in the central area, the central section. As well, we have programmable multifunctional keys with standard regional, specific, or customized labels. And then these keys can be fully programmed for specific functions. Even you can program a function to switch on your coffee machine, right? If you like. Okay. Then we have as well rotary encoders for parameter control and monitoring. And of course our auto mix and auto gain functionality, already used for many years, is as well present and available in the new Crystal console. We have integrated mix-minus functions, conference buses, built-in Ravenna stream patching, and logic functions and much more. And again, as already mentioned, we can share the same snapshots with Diamond, so that you can have a nice combination of Diamond consoles and new Crystal, especially in bigger setups or on more locations than only one. This enables very streamlined support and organization of all the workflow support. Okay, more details on the Lawo Crystal apps. This enables an integrated, guided and intuitive workflows. It visualizes, let's say, metering functions, logic functions. It enables extended channel strips with user labels and status informations. It gives input and output meters, PPM or loudness information. A graphical parameter enables DSP settings, source assignments and audio routing. And of course we have clock, date and configurable timers, and on-air and system health monitoring. Yeah, what is important to mention is that new Crystal with the Crystal apps as well supports web browsers, or has an integrated web browser so that you can display easily automation functions by the integrated third-party automation system, social media information, weather forecast, news information, whatever kind of information that is needed to support the radio show or the current production. Okay? And of course as well video thumbnails, because Lawo is not only having audio and radio, setups, but as well we can display video thumbnails, so that you can display as well information from webcams or other let's say video information. Okay, just to give you a highlight in terms of this screenshot here, what our core functions are in terms of the audio, let's say, and DSP functions. So you have EQ functions with 3-band parametric equalizers, plus 2-band filters, so all in all 5-band things. Dynamic functions, delay functions, de-esser, and again already mentioned the auto mix and auto gain function that is very useful to support you in talk radios or other situations where you want to automatically, let's say, adjust the level for microphones and in incoming lines. Then PowerCore mode. We already mentioned the PowerCore Compact license. This supports a 6-fader or extended 14-fader setup. And with the PowerCore Max license, you can even do something really more elegant and very price efficient thing. You can set up to 4 independent New Crystal consoles with just one PowerCore, which means, as shown here, a main studio with a 14-fader setup, a backup studio with the same setup but without virtual extension because of cost reasons. Then you have a new studio with 6-fader setup and a virtual studio remotely that links to the same PowerCore. So all in all, very price efficient, but works nicely. The maximum support here is given for 4x 6-fader setup or 3x 14 faders and 1x 6-fader. So now we come really to something really special and really good with New Crystal. It is not only, let's say, working as a radio console with the PowerCore, as well it supports the so-called controller mode. Controller mode means that the crystal surface will be switched to a different operational mode using the so-called OSC protocol. OSC means Open Sound Control. This is something like an extended MIDI protocol, which is really nice and supports, let's say, that the New Crystal can be used as an assistive console for MC² setups, which means our live production and big production consoles, which means you can give, let's say, dedicated tasks to an additional person for bigger events, for bigger productions. And this means then that this New Crystal console is taking, let's say, an 8-fader setup or a 6-fader setup out of the, let's say, big production setup, and then this person works on specific channel strips to support the whole and overall production. In addition, the New Crystal can work as well with digital audio workstations like Pyramix or Pro Tools or others, so that this can be used as a high quality, let's say, user interface for the digital audio workstation or any other OSC application that is supporting this protocol, right? Then we can demonstrate here the different variations of New Crystal, 14-fader light, 6-fader light, the same then in the Dark Edition. And as you can see, the Dark Edition really looks attractive. Many customers already have referred to that have seen that first and said, really a good and nice product, looks really cute. And this was more or less the overview in terms of the console surface. But it is important to have a back-end engine that supports the whole sound processing and supports the different functions. And this is, in this case, the so-called PowerCore in our case. So this is the new or the DSP mixing engine for New Crystal and for Diamond. The PowerCore comes as revision 2 or revision 3 version. The revision 2 supports an integrated GPIO function on the front end of the PowerCore. Revision 3 has an additional pair of Ravenna ports, so that it supports at the end 512 Ravenna channels all in all. In addition, we have the so-called audio I/O extender, which can be used in combination, and this combination is really giving you a lot of additional I/Os, but we come to that later. PowerCore supports 96 DSP channels, auto mix and loudness functions. It has 80 summing buses and quite a big audio matrix with 1920 versus 1920 cross points. Again, in revision 3 we have 4 streaming ports supporting up to 512 Ravenna audio channels. We have redundant control ports, redundant Ravenna ports, redundant power supplies, which means Already this nice 19-inch box with one height unit is already supporting a lot of functions in this very small, powerful box. On the back end of the PowerCore, we have the 8 I/O slots, which means you can add in any kind of I/O card in the PowerCore to support the different I/Os that is needed for your production or your radio operation. Here you can see the different cards supported in the setup: microphone card, line-in card, line-out cards, AES cards, a GPIO card, and of course as well Dante and Mardi cards. The Dante and Mardi cards are 64-channel cards. This is only supported in the PowerCore, not in the audio I/O extender. As well, in addition to the hardware redundancy options, we have redundancy options as well in terms of our software. So we have a so-called source replication software or functionality. This supports fully mirrored channel strips and DSP blocks from A to B and B to A, as well as it supports cross-point replication, and this gives you a complete redundant setup for PowerCores, which means if you want to rely on this fully one-to-one redundancy, then you can work with this setup. Very powerful. Yeah, as already mentioned, we have different license options. In terms of the new crystal, it is the PowerCore Compact license and the PowerCore Max license, but the PowerCore as such works with a lot of other licenses, which means if you want to use the PowerCore as well in addition to the new crystal setup, then you can take a decision for different kind of license options for additional I/O, for gateway functions, for conversion between a Dante setup and Ravenna network. And you can as well add a lot of additional functions like mini mixers, conference assign functions, loopbacks, aux pen, and of course the Ravenna Plus option for this maximum of 512 let's say Ravenna channels. Yeah, coming back to the audio I/O extender, it has the same chassis than the PowerCore, 19-inch 1U. Again, it only supports the 8-channel I/O cards like microphone, line-in, studio I/O, AES card. But it works very nicely together with the PowerCore with low latency audio and control transport. And you can add up to 20 audio I/O extenders to one PowerCore, which is really a powerful setup. Yeah, up more than 1,000 channels will be possible with this setup. This is amazing in terms of, let's say, a PowerCore plus the audio I/O extenders. Yeah, just to give you a little bit of an impression what this means in terms of the PowerCore implementation into projects or setups. This is a typical setup for a LAN, local area network, and wide area network implementation. On the left side, on location A, we have a Studio 2. On the right side, we have again a Studio 2 on location B and a Studio 3. And the two PowerCores link and work together via the wide area network. We have powerful, let's say, compensation of jitter and a nice, let's say, time synchronization between the two locations, so that even across bigger distance, we have a project in Australia where we work across thousands of kilometers. This works really nicely, and this is unique in the industry. Yeah, a second setup you can see here is using, let's say, the PowerCores only without a console as a data center operation. We have two PowerCores, two PowerCore Max solutions being completely mirrored. And then this links as well to Studio 1, to Studio 2 and to Studio 3 in a distant location, but works really nice and takes the same functionalities of time synchronization and audio transfer. Yeah, can be added with an audio I/O extender as shown here. Yeah, and then the last and final slide showing you the combination. If you have a side A and a side B, then you can have different implementations. And this means as well, important to mention that the PowerCore is not only supporting multicast, it supports as well unicast operation, which means that specifically for the wide area network connection, you can use unicast protocol, which means you can make this very efficient because you can reduce the network traffic significantly. And this is very important for making this very efficient and, let's say, as well secure, right? So yeah, all in all, this is just an example and one example of many different setups we are supporting, and we are more than happy to discuss the scenarios as well with you. Thank you. This was the end of the presentation regarding new crystal and PowerCore, and hope we see you soon and discuss your project and your radio scenarios in detail.